To order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Here.
Chairman Bucher?
Here. We're going to stand and hear a prayer from our county attorney, Mr. Grady, and then we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Almighty and merciful God, who in the midst of darkness and chaos filled the world with light, we thank and praise you for the gift of another day. Knowing our unworthiness of such a gift, we beg you today to forgive us our sins and to banish the darkness of error and wickedness from our hearts. Help us to be good people, people of magnanimity and warmth, of generosity and hope. Grant us wisdom so that we might recognize the right thing to do, and courage so that we might do it. And grant to us, our county, our nation, and our world the peace that only you can give. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners, you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions, corrections, changes?
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Yes. First item on our agenda is an update from the Partners in Education, otherwise known as PI. So Suzanne Gifford is going to come and share with us. Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the Board of Commissioners for the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I would like to share our sincere gratitude and provide an update on how the $30,000 in matching funds from Craven County, combined with the $30,000 grant from the Harold H. Bate Foundation, is being used for a total investment of $60,000 in our Craven County school system athletic programs. My name is, as you know, Suzanne Gifford. I'm the Executive Director of Craven County Partners in Education. Today I have with me Mr. Don Brinkley. He is the PI Board Chair. He also represents the Harold Bate Foundation. I also have 3 representatives from our Craven County School principals, and they're going to come up here individually and tell you how their funds are being used. First, I'd like to call Ms. Claudia Casey, principal of Havelock High School. Susan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, my name is Claudia Casey. I am the proud principal of Havelock High School. I want to extend, on behalf of our students, our staff, and our athletic programs, a sincere thank you to each of you for funding this grant. At our school, we have a recently constructed weight training building that was just built, and we are at the phase of flooring, which is quite expensive. So we plan to utilize the funds for a flooring project, which is the next phase of construction. Athletics is the front door to our school. One of our big goals with, especially this year, is connecting our kids with something. Athletics is a big connector for our kids. It's what keeps them in school for many of them. It's what holds them accountable for behavior, for grades, and for things after school. So they are otherwise engaged in practices. So we are committed to continuing that and keeping our kids engaged And again, athletics is a big part of it. So we sincerely thank you for this funding, and we look forward to doing the flooring in our training facility. And also, this will be open to all of our athletic programs. So all of our students will have access to it, as well as those students who do enroll in the course for strength and weight training. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Dr. Darrell Thomas, principal of New Bern High School.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I'm Dr. Thomas, principal of New Bern High School, home of the Bears, where we build excellence and resilience. We appreciate the matching funds that you're able to match for us there at New Bern High School for our student athletes. A lot of the funds we're going to use for scoreboards in our gym and possibly help with our stadium. We have some field needs and some maintenance needs as you think about our athletic facilities, even our weight rooms that we have for our student athletes. And just like Ms. Casey stated, athletics is one way for students to be involved in our school. So we're looking at those funds to see how that can help with that part as well as we kind of build our community needs with those funds. So we do appreciate you matching the funds for us. It is going to help support a lot of different things at our school, mainly with that student athletics piece. And hopefully we can get some scoreboards and get some different things in the school to help with that. And if there's any field or uniform or maintenance needs for our growing programs, because we've added volleyball, we've added a lot of programs as well. We want to make sure we have everything that works out for our student athletes there at the school. So again, we appreciate it. Thank you for matching the funds, and hopefully we can work together in the future as well as we continue our partnership with the county commissioners. Thank you all. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And finally, I'd like to call up Mr. Montrell Lee, the principal of West Craven High School.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all. I kind of echo what my colleague said. Montreal Lee, principal of West Craven High School. When we rise above, I want to say thank you, as I am a product of athletics. I don't think I will be standing here today if it wasn't for the contributions and impact of my coaches and the impact of athletics. West Craven High School wants to thank you all for this generous donation that will go forth to help with helmet reconditioning, field paint, along with some upgrades to our weight room. And we're also doing assessments across our whole department to ensure that all our student athletes' needs are met. As we said, it impacts our school greatly. Your investment shows that our community believes in our student athletes and our school. And on behalf of West Craven High School, we want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee is also a member of the Craven County Partners in Education Board, so multiple hats. Through partnerships like this with you all, as well as with Craven County Sheriff's Department, Craven County ABC Board, Craven Pamlico Regional Library, it allows PI to continue to expand opportunities across Craven County. This year alone, just this year, PI awarded $81,043 to 60 classrooms. And those are innovative grants that enhance and support the educational experiences. We also requested $153,822 to support school programs, with this being one of those. Without those partnerships, we could not do what we do and have the impact that we have in the community. In closing, I would like to recognize and thank all of our partners. Your commitment to our schools and students makes these opportunities possible. Together, your partnership strengthens education, creates meaningful opportunities across Craven County. We are truly, truly grateful for your support and your investment in our children and youth of our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments for her? I would only echo what Mr. Lee, is it? What he said. He said he wouldn't be here today. I would have to say the same thing, because if it wasn't for athletics, I'm not sure I would have made it through high school. Because my focus was, I got to get my grades so that I can play. Because if you don't have, well, I went to school, in my school, if you didn't have a C or better in any subject, you didn't dress, you didn't play. So that was a big motivator for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of your youngsters as well. Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you all three for what you do. We appreciate you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sure.
You know, we don't have Don Brinkley here much at our meetings. He's a busy man. But I think just for everybody to know in this county, the Bate Foundation, for what they do in Craven County and Eastern North Carolina, they have matched many dollars for the citizens of this county, saved us millions of dollars through the years in contributions such as this, not only to our schools, but also what they're doing for recreation. Jack, I think y'all gave us a figure. They've contributed over $1 million.
Yes, sir.
That's a substantial amount of money. Yeah, I think that
And Don, keep it coming.
And the last thing I'd like to say, Ms. Chairman, also Ms. Guilford, she recognized the collaboration we have with the Craven Pamlico Regional Library. Today we have our new regional director, Ms. Julie Cox, here also. She's in attendance. I think she's going to be coming in the next few months and speaking to our board, but just wanted to acknowledge her too this
Great.
morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I should have acknowledged that we started, gentleman in the blue shirt, Mr. Whitford, well, he won his primary, which was substantial. He had 2 opponents, so he'll be sitting in this seat come December. So welcome and congratulations, Josh. Okay. Second item on our agenda today is the Coastal Center for Hope and Healing. And we have a presentation today by Donnie Brooks and Amanda Delgado. Do I have those names? I got the correct names, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pass those down, okay? I just wanted, those are just stats for you ladies and gentlemen, so you don't have to worry about writing stats down. I know how I can
Okay.
get in a meeting, okay? Let me first say that this board and also this organization, it's gotta be real special to me for getting up this morning, okay? Because now since I got out of the Marine Corps, do I get up this early in the morning to show up? But thank you. Thank you very much, okay? Along with myself, my name is Donnie Brooks, along with the Executive Director of Coastal Women's Shelter. Also CWS, but we are in the process of changing and progressing and everything else. And also, Mr. Jones, I'd like to acknowledge what you said about the Bate Foundation. Thank you very much. You have been supporting us in this county throughout, and I really appreciate that. Amen, amen, amen. So let me get started so I don't take up too much of your time. Again, my name is Donnie Brooks. I'm the president of the board of directors for Coastal Center for Hope and Healing, also known as Coastal Women's Shelter. You know, before I continue, let me say I want to personally thank this board for what you've given to this organization. I want to personally thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come before this Board of Commissioners. I'd like to personally thank Mrs. Shane Daggins for being on our board. Thank you, Shane. You know, I know in this present political climate, you as commissioners are required by voters who elected you to justify every dollar that you give to any nonprofit organization in Craven County. Furthermore, some of these voters may ask, how does their tax dollars given to Coastal Center for Hope and Healing benefit them or the community at large? I would say to these taxpayers, every dollar invested in our organization is possibly a life saved and an investment in our future generations, thereby hoping to prevent further domestic violence and sexual assault. Here are some numbers to justify each dollar that this Board of Commissioners has allotted to organization. You know, Coastal Center for Hope and Healing, also known as Coastal Women's Shelter, has in fiscal year 24-25 answered 1,663 calls. And this year alone, we've answered 1,082 crisis calls. In 24-25, we've assisted 266 adults and 281 children. In this fiscal year alone, 220 and 202 220 adults and 227 children. In fiscal year 24-25, we've arranged for our survivors 2,180 shelter nights. And in this fiscal year, 1,354 shelter nights. Now, shelter nights are defined as a total night a person spends with us. So if you got a child in a shelter along with an adult, each of those are shelter nights. In fiscal year 24-25, our staff had 708 court advocacy contacts, and so far this year, we've had 508. And those are defined as information and assistance with POs, emergency orders, and also the judicial process. In 24-25, we provided 645 and a half counseling hours, one-on-one counseling hours. And so far this year, we've had 488 and a half counseling hours. In terms of sexual assault, in fiscal year 25, we've had 16 calls for assistance. And as of February of this year, we've already had 14. And again, we are still 3.5 months away from the end of the fiscal year. So there will be more, unfortunately. Furthermore, I'm proud to announce that a house has been donated to our organization. It is move-in ready and is located in the New Bern area. This house will be used for transitional housing, which you all know, housing is crazy now, how much prices are. And it will be called Courtney's Home for Hope. We have already received a number of donations, are in the process of soliciting other grants and donations to help sustain Courtney's Home for Hope. I would like to prayerfully ask that we never forget that every dollar spent is a life worth salvaging. That life, the survivors, their kids, their extended family and friends will remember that they were touched by Coastal Center for Hope and Healing. And I hope that they will tell someone else how they survived, overcame, and because of the assistance of our organization. These same individuals whom you have helped by funding us will one day become a legacy of hope, healing, and thereby encouragement for other generations to come. Because if we want to see this next generation succeed, we had better start investing in their success for tomorrow, today. In closing, I, on behalf of the staff of Coastal Center for Hope and Healing, our board of directors, and all the survivors and their families and friends, thank you for the support, for supporting us, our mission for more than 40 years. Yes, we've been in this county for more than 40 years. And I'd really like to say Suzanne Gifford was one of the first directors I hired back in the 90s. If you have any questions about our service or our day-to-day operations for Coastal Center for Hope and Healing, also known as Coastal Women's Shelter, please feel free to reach out to her. Because she runs the organization. I'm just the one that supports her and makes sure she has the funding and the staff to do what she does every single day. Again, thank you from all of us, to all of you, for the funding that you have given us in the future and the past and presently today. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Amanda, you want to come up to the mic? Because I think there are going to be some questions.
That's fine, yes, sir.
Okay. Questions for Amanda? You?
Yes. First of all, thank you for what you guys do. That's one area I could not do that work. So I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
And I do have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
From the time you get a call from a client and see a client, how long does it take for that case to get to court, approximately?
It depends on the situation. So it depends also if we go civil or criminal. We know that the criminal side can take a little bit longer because there's an investigation that has to be done by law enforcement. Whereas on the criminal side, it can go probably about 30 days, but if they're unable to serve the aggressor, then it can take a lot longer. And we've had cases that have been drawn out 2 years in civil because they were unable to locate the aggressor and serve them properly with the protective order.
My other question is about the new home.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious, how many bedrooms, and will children be able to stay there?
There are 2 bedrooms in the home, and yes, children will be able to stay in the home with their non-offending parent. So essentially what's going to happen is they're going to be in our emergency shelter, and we will work with them during the time that they're there to be able to get back on their feet and become self-sufficient. At that point, if their permanent housing is unavailable, they will have the opportunity to apply to the transitional housing program and then get some more time there while they wait for that permanent housing.
Okay. And how long are you expecting someone to stay in a transitional home?
So they can get up to 3 months in our emergency shelter. They will also be allowed to get up to another 3 months in our transitional housing program.
Okay. And do you have a timeline when you're going to open this home?
The hope is to get it open by the end of April.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? We thank you
Thank you
again
so
for what you
much.
do, and I agree with Sherry, that kind of work we're not all built for, and we appreciate what you do.
Absolutely. We appreciate your support. Commissioner Mitchell has been a cheerleader as well as Commissioner Hunt, and we could not continue in this without the support of the commissioner, so we greatly appreciate you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, you have the consent agenda in front of you, the minutes from the March 2nd meeting, tax releases and refunds, a budget amendment for the sheriff, and a proclamation in recognition of County Government Month. Are there any additions or changes?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Booker.
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda, number 4, Leslie Young, our tax administrator. She's got several items to cover with us.
Yes, sir, I do.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Great to be here this morning. Thank you for having me. A little catch up. Typically, I report the delinquent tax amount that you see as the first item on my agenda for you. And circumstances beyond our control with the snow and a family matter that required me to be absent at this time. Now that I'm before you, I'd like to report to you the delinquent tax amount for 2025. As of this morning, our delinquent tax amount is $1,405,599.44. That gives us a collection rate as of today of 97.69. In comparison, to tell you that I'm encouraged by this amount, that we're right on track. In 2024, this time last year, the delinquent amount was just a little bit less at $1,351,435.29, and that was a collection rate of 97.74%. So we're just within 0.05 of a percentage rate in our delinquent tax. So I do project for this next 2025 to report a collection rate at a minimum of 99 point
Something.
Okay.
Very good.
Chairman, the next item on there is to ask for the charge for advertising the delinquent taxpayers in the newspaper, which is by statute. And as you know, in the last couple of years, not only do I report in the newspaper, but I report on our website, courthouse, all municipalities as well. That posting I have scheduled with the New Bern Sun-Journal to be on Tuesday, April 28th. Delinquent taxpayers have until Tuesday, March 31st to have their taxes paid in order to avoid publication.
Okay. Commissioners, I think we should have a motion and a second to agree to the delinquent taxpayers ad in the Sun Journal.
So moved.
Motion. Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes,
Very
okay?
good. Thank you, Commissioners. At this time, this was a good opportunity to talk about our real estate market. As you know, we are scheduled for revaluation 2028. In my world, that's just in a blink of an eye. So I try to report to you to tell you how we're headed. And I think this is a good opportunity to talk to you about the real estate market for calendar year 2025. Robbie, if you'll go to the graph. So this is how we look according to, again, my source is our local MLS system, straight from MLS. And you can see down at the bottom, we started in the month of January 2025 in the first column. And as we go up, we get to December, all the way through the year. The next column over is the average sales price that was in 2024. And then the next column, I compare it to our current, which is what I report each month. That's the third column, so I compare those two numbers. Then the next column, that's quite colorful between black and red, is the percentage increase in those two values. And I do watch that, and I'm going to speak on that in just a minute. And then the last column is DOM, days on market. How long from the time that a house goes on the market till the time it goes under contract. And I'm going to talk about that because that is a very, very important variable into how we were looking in our real estate market. So initially when I completed this, I said, my goodness, this looks really, really messy. You know, we've got kind of a moving target here. What exactly are these numbers saying? Because all we see is we go up and we go down. Mm-hmm. If you look, I took the percentage increase column and I took the average of that. And I would say no doubt that 2025, that if Craven County were going to have a downward turn in the market, this would be the year. And that average for all the percentage increase came to a negative 0.09%. So for Craven County to have a downward turn that's not even 1/10 of a percent, we fared extremely well. If you ask me, I say we've had our downward turn, and I say we are about to pivot to really good real estate market going forward, and I'll explain that in just a minute as well. So don't be alarmed, because again, if you go back to when I was here 3 years ago, in 2023, presenting our 23 reval, I was reporting to you percentage increases of double digits. Mm-hmm. And I remember our three highest months included 20%, 18%, 17%. And I reported to you at that time that compared to other counties throughout the state, we were very conservative. We had a value increase of 42.03%, and a lot of our jaws were dropping, and I said, wait a minute, we're very conservative compared to our state. And I made the statement then that if we should have a downward turn, it would not be drastic. Okay, because the more steady and stable that we have, like a 42, instead of some counties that have had in the 70s we've seen, that if we had a downward turn, this would be more of like what we saw. These, sure, we have some numbers in the red, but they're not drastic. Okay, I want to talk about days on market. And I reported to you back in February of 23 and along throughout the year. 1 to 90 days is considered an excellent market, and it was excellent for the sellers. You put a house on the market, and by that afternoon, it could be under contract. We all said at that time, the market cannot sustain itself. Mm-hmm. Okay, great for the sellers, but we can't keep going. So when are we going to adjust? You can see now, because we were averaging in the high 20s to the 30s on days on market. And I had said at that time, 91 to 120 days is a very good market. And that's the market that I like, and I'll explain to you in just a minute. So in January of 25, our average days on market was 53. We creeped up into the 60s, dropped back a little bit more in the 50s, And what I watch the most is our last quarter, because that's gonna tell us mostly on how we're gonna start 2026, is the last quarter. We're at 66, 76, and 82. And those three numbers are fantastic. This is not an indicator of, oh no, the market is making a downward turn, you know, are we headed to a recession and things of that sort. It is not. That is an indicator of a good, healthy, balanced market. I like those that are around the 90 days up to 120 days, because the sellers are still doing well, but the buyers now have more of a say in the market, and that's what is making this market healthy. Because before, in 2023, 22, it was absolutely hands down a seller's market. Now we're balanced, now we're healthy, and if we came out of this adjustment at not even a negative 0.1%, Craven County's market is fantastic. Okay? Just to piggyback off of this, how are we looking? The last couple of months of 2026, when it comes to percentage increase, has been a wash. In January, we had a positive 6.42% increase in our value. And then last month, we had a negative 6.54. That negative had to do a lot with the average sales price, because in February of 25, we had 4 sales in that month that sold for more than $800,000 in that 1 month. And this February, we had 1. So that was the adjustment there. Our days on market, I love it. 100 days in January and 88 days in February. So our market has, in what I see, has made its adjustment, is making its adjustment. And I think we're absolutely fine. Headed to the 2028 reval. Unless there is something that has a major effect on the market, and specifically here at Craven County, I expect our 2028 reval to look a lot like our reval 2023. Our sales ratio that we report to the State Department of Revenue, we're under a mandatory reval, and we are right at 79%, which means that our appraised value is at 79% of its market value. So right there, we're easily at 20% of our 42.03% that we reported at the last reval. So then when you couple that with new construction, the permits, things of that such, I look for us to be right around that 40 again, okay, for reval 28. I think that's all I have for today. Commissioners, be glad to take any questions at this time. Any
Commissioner
comments?
Mitchell?
Yes, Ms. Young, I have one. When you say days on the market, is that days until it is under contract or days until the sale closes?
It's supposed to be days under under contract. Now, I do question that, but that is the proper definition.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
some of the
that's
houses that went under contract may or may not have closed.
Correct, because those can fall apart, and
Right.
remember, that's an average.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does it include new construction or is this existing homes?
It's both. It's
Okay.
whatever is listed in our MLS.
Okay.
Any other questions?
2028 reval.
Yes, sir.
Give us just a very short timeline. When do you start the process? When do you send out the notices?
Okay, I just had a very big reval 2028 meeting last Tuesday morning with my appraisers. In fact, it was a 3-hour meeting, so I had a lot to say. We are all in the thick of things. You don't see it right now, but our appraisers are working extremely hard. It will begin, I remember in reval 23, it was in August that I met with Jack and the team of a dozen of us to begin talking about, it was in August of 22, just to get the schedule of our town hall meetings for October and November of 22. So I project that as soon as I mail tax notices in July of 27, we as collective big group go to work. The reval 28, I have not gone over the timeline with Jack specifically, but I did with my appraisers. I want to see the reval notices mail right around the Valentine's Day weekend. Okay.
That, my point was, would we have that going into the 28, 29 budget year, and so yes.
Yes, sir.
You'll know
I-
your numbers.
I am very diligent. One thing that we did last week, because I do understand the importance of valuation, is beginning the first Monday in December, I report to Jack by the week, every Monday, all the county, all the fire districts, all the municipalities, how the valuation increases each week. So we've got a good pulse on it.
As I looked over this chart before preparing for the meeting, there's one outlier there, and that was November of '24. That number is way higher than any other number as far as the average sales price. Did we have several really expensive properties sell
Yes, sir.
that month?
Yes, sir. If you remember, I think that was during the time that we had nearly 12 houses over 800,000. Yes, sir.
And if you were to take that number and bring it down in line with the rest, it still wouldn't change a lot, but we would have been a little higher in '25 than '24. As it is right now, like you said, they were about even.
Yes, sir. We would have an overall average, you know what I've said, a negative 0.09. Take out November, we would have been a positive.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Any other questions, comments for her?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Add while Leslie's here. Thank you, Leslie. Great presentation. Last week, Friday, we heard an update from the Association of County Commissioners about potential property tax legislation that may be introduced this Wednesday. So we learned, I guess, back in the fall that the House had put together a special committee on property tax, looking at it from a couple angles, mainly focused on affordability and then the rising values in homes as revals are occurring right now. Most recently, I believe it was Guilford County, Leslie, that just a couple weeks ago sent some valuations out, and it was over 45% average across the county increase. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this. They've held hearings since, I'd say, November. Last one will be Wednesday of this week. We expect, again, could be a variety of different things, whether it's focused on caps of the property tax rates, reconfiguring how revaluation occurs, maybe some transparency and taxation. So all these types of legislations are out there. Again, the association has been very focused on the role of counties in government, right? I mean, we are the lowest arm of the state here. We do a lot of things that are either mandated by state or federal government that we don't have a lot of choice in. With that said, it is important for us to be mindful as these pieces of legislation come forward, and I'll work closely with Leslie to see the impacts there. Most particularly, I think we talked about sometimes when they do some of the abatement laws, whether it's for Homestead Act or veterans disabled, all those type things, those impacts it has on the base. So we'll keep a watchful eye on that, and of course we'll watch the meeting on Wednesday to make sure we understand what's coming our way. So just want to update you on that.
At that meeting, we were encouraged, the meeting that he's referring to, we were encouraged to reach out to our legislators and tell them of our concern of trying to any attempt on their part to limit what we do. We've had one tax increase in my almost 8 years on this board, and it was only 1 cent, if I remember right.
Correct.
And that was to put a deputy sheriff in every school. Other than that, we've never raised taxes. And when we had our reval in '23, we did revenue neutral, which means we lowered the tax rate to account for the raise in value. So we think we're pretty conservative and very diligent in how we do that. That was Friday. On Saturday, I had an opportunity to speak to our representative, and I told him of our concern about that discussion, I'll call it, that's going on at the state level. He is not in favor of it, and he said, I'm not sure what's driving it, other than maybe somewhat political people, elections coming up and so on and so forth. So he said, I'm staying close to that situation. So I was comforted by that. He's our representative, and he has a pretty strong role in the state government. He's deputy. What's his title?
Majority whip.
Yeah, Majority whip, that's right.
As you spoke, I thought about a couple things I should have noted. One is the Senate has also authored a special committee to look at property taxes. And after Guilford County presented their new values to the citizens, there was some sentiment about a 12-month moratorium on all revaluations. So there was some discussion about that on Friday. I don't believe that will affect the work that Leslie needs to do unless it extends out longer than 12 months. I agree there is a caucus of legislators who either served in city or county government, and they understand what this board and other boards are up against each year as you look at the different competing narratives of funding requests that come in and how those must be handled. So I think there's a group there that understands it. It just depends on how we move past Wednesday.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have the comment, also along with the statistics on those that did reevaluate, almost, in fact, all of the counties lowered their rate. It was overall. So they are aware of the needs of affordability, and the counties have been, by and large, aware of what they need to do with their taxes. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I'm sorry.
But for the benefit of the citizens, Commissioner Mason, I'd like to point out that just because the counties lower their tax rate does not necessarily mean that the municipalities lower their tax rate.
Well, that's true.
And for some people who looked at their total tax bill increase, it was not because of county taxes, it was because their municipality taxes did not follow through.
Yeah, I think we don't want to name cities, but Havelock and New Bern both raised their taxes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We appreciate your
Thank you very
presentation.
much.
When you get 80 years old, you don't care.
Okay. Item number 6, social services, Mr. Jeffrey Merritt. Contract extension. Morning, Jeff.
Okay, good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. We bring before you today a request to approve the first of 3 5-year extensions that we put in our contract with Young Williams that began in fiscal year 21-22. This contract ends effective June 30th, 2026. If you remember at that time, we published a request for proposals. We received those proposals, and Young Williams at that time, from a financial standpoint, was significantly less than the other ones, but their service also was very comparable. I will say that the service that we've had has continued to be very satisfactory. I will say that they're always very responsive to me. If there's I get very little feedback regarding that department to where I have to follow up something, and when I do, they're very prompt in it. And when I look at their data, they appear to be performing satisfactorily. And you will also see in regards to the new proposal for the 3-year extension, that pricing is very comparable to what we have now. And I would say that even with a request for proposals from those 5 years ago, it's still significantly less than those ones that we received 5 years ago. So from a market standpoint, they seem to be still in a very competitive position. I'd be happy to answer any more questions if you have that.
Questions for Mr. Merritt?
I move that we approve this contract.
Second.
All right, we're going to take a roll call, but I want to ask one question.
Yes.
I read through I didn't read every document, obviously, and all this attachment, but I did look at every page. For the benefit of our audience, both here and at home, what exactly does Young Williams, what exactly do they do for you?
So the county is required to administer the child support enforcement program, and I can't remember the year, but the state had that program, and then they said we're no longer doing it from a statewide standpoint, so the counties have to do that. 2007. So so the Craven County at that time decided to contract those services out, and so what that does is if there is a household in which there's a non-custodial parent and a custodial parent, or if it's where parents no longer have custody of their children and financial support is needed by that custodial parent from the non-custodial parent, then Young Williams will go and try to enforce that child support. So what they will do is that they will try to, one, if they need to establish paternity, they will do that, and once paternity is established, they will go through the court to try to get a court order to enforce child support. And they'll evaluate the income of the individual. They will, determine a monthly payment fee. If there's arrears there, they will go back and try to enforce those arrears payments while getting ongoing payments caught up. And there's also penalties in which individuals could be jailed for not paying their child support. So so they enforce that child support payment. They're there to help those parents who have physical custody of their children and need that financial support from that parent who's no longer in the household, and make sure they support their children in a financial manner so that they can have clothing, food, a roof over their head, electricity. They're able to do things, if the same amount of things they would do if the parents were still together and they were living in that two-income household.
So, if necessary, then they get a judge to dictate the amount.
Right.
Then, if they still don't pay, then the sheriff has to enforce the pay. He has to get involved, and if necessary, he has to maybe put them in jail, whatever the judge says.
Right. The judge can issue an order for arrest if someone is, not making payments as they should. And that is something that does happen not only in our child support enforcement program, but others as well. So that is an option, when someone does not follow up on their obligation for child support for their child.
Thank you.
Quick question, if you don't mind, Chairman. How successful are they? Do we track that?
We do track that. We stay right at above the state average. I think they do a very good job, especially in some of the times with, that we've had with a little bit of financial turmoil and economic turmoil. So they give us a monthly report. I think that's also in your commissioner's report that you can look at that data as well. I don't have that right off the top of my head, but when I look at those data, there's nothing that's significantly lower. So I think they perform very comparable to our offices throughout the state.
Thank you.
Would you clarify, Mr. Merritt, for the benefit of the audience, child support monies belong to the child?
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because I think there is a misperception that the child support monies belong to the custodial parent,
No,
and they do not.
It's to support the children and things needed to support that child's well-being and their needs. So yes, so it goes to those things where they need school supplies, if they need clothing, it's supposed to go towards the cost of shelter, the cost of utility expense, their basic needs there. So it's not supposed to go towards, wants, I would say, it's going to support that child and what they need in order to live a healthy life and, live a good life.
And these monies follow the children, correct?
Yes, they follow the children. So it's also for instance, if you have the two biological parents who do not have custody of that child, whoever has custody of the child could possibly file for child support then as well to see if they'd be eligible to receive the benefit.
Like a grandparent.
Right,
Whatever.
of course.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Appreciate what you do.
We got a motion on the table for.
Oh, yeah, we do have a motion. No, we better rule on that. Would you call the roll, please? Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like the fun stat we should know when we're presenting is how successful the program is. If you know anything, all the other stuff is poppycock.
We used to get calls all the time about the prior company. I never got a call.
Yeah, they apparently do a good job. Okay, next on the agenda, number 6, Mr. Scott Harrelson under the Health Department, from the Health Department. Scott?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have 2 agenda items this morning. One is funding for the 340B pharmacy in Havelock. If you recall, these funds were approved and set aside end-of-year dollars, and now is the time. We're finally moving into progression of doing the renovations, and we have the...
We're actually done?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
We're about to start, hopefully.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully. And we have a pharmacist on board who has been setting up the necessary licensure, and even with the 2 pharmacists on board, the pharmacy is profitable. So if we open up the second site, we really do feel like, just from a convenience factor, to be able to finish your visit there in Havelock, walk around the corner, get your meds there in a few minutes, really less expensive than anywhere else you can go. Should be a pretty good drawing card, and a tremendous service for the folks down in that portion of the county. So the monies have been set aside, and this is basically to set up a new, basically a new area for our budget, or line, health or department 5141 for those services.
Okay, questions from Mr. Harrelson?
I just have one comment. I'm looking forward to that pharmacy opening in Havelock. Everybody's very excited and is awaiting it, so I'll be following that timeline closely. So good work.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would make the motion that we make the amendment in the amount of $250,000 to keep the drugs flowing.
Second.
A motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Booker?
Yes. Second item.
Thank you.
from
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Harrelson.
The second item are some new fees, and some changes to some current fees as well. Two of the more interesting items I wanted to bring to your attention were new ultrasound fees. This is a new service coming to our maternity clinic. Sometimes it is problematic for our ladies to receive this service. So while we have them there in person in our clinic, our staff has been trained, the equipment has been purchased or will be purchased, and this is basically limited in scope. It's dating ultrasounds for these fees, but in a very valuable service for our ladies. And to stay in compliance with Title X family planning, we do long-acting contraceptives in our family planning clinic, and now we are always required to do acquisition costs. So instead of just setting a fee, what we would prefer to do, because they change so often, is just to, our request is that we purchase them at acquisition costs, which would keep us compliant with those program standards.
Okay.
So the target is to break even and just keep the program going and maintaining the ultrasound and the people that operate it, right?
Well, with the ultrasound, that one, we do have charges, or is a billable service. With the Title X or the family planning, that's the break even with the long-acting contraceptives. Yes, sir.
I would just add that our rates, our fee that we charge on most everything, we just pretty much mirror what the federal fee is. We don't go out on our own and set fees. We just follow along with what they do. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir. So if the Medicaid rate is $59.41, we'll just round up and make it an even $60. And that's basically the way of our fee structure. And before Medicaid transformation or privatization, whatever you want to call it, we used to have fees change maybe once a year, twice a year. Now it's very sporadic. It could be 7 or 8 times a year.
Seems like it's pretty regularly. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on this one.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Booker?
Yes. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you for your support, Commissioner.
Appreciate
Much
it.
appreciated.
Item number 7, under appointments. This is a first for me. We have no appointments current, but we have 3 pending. One is the Aging Planning Board, the other is Clean Sweep Committee, and the other is Juvenile Crime Prevention. Those will be coming up in the future. Item number 8, our county attorney.
Mr. Chairman, I have no report this morning.
Okay, thank you. And number 9, County Manager.
Good morning. First, I wanted to pull up some weather today. It's going to get a little interesting later, just to make the commissioners and staff and anyone that's following at home aware. Severe thunderstorm potential today from noon to 10. As you can see, there's a color striation there. The tan is an enhanced risk. The red is a moderate risk. They've been talking about this since Friday. It's a typical springtime scenario for Eastern North Carolina. Just be mindful. Next slide, Robbie. And some of the things to be mindful are, of course, the possibility of a tornado. We're in the yellow section there, 10 to 14%. The pink is 15 to 29. That's from noon to 5 today is the prime time for that. Next slide. Wind risk, always with these thunderstorms, your straight line winds, we're in the 30 to 44%. Just to our west would be the 45 to 60. So there's a high likelihood, some strong winds that come in with the front. Next slide. Hail, 5 to 14%. Again, between noon and 5, riskiest time. Next slide. And then just the most important thing, these are wind gust predictions. As you can see, New Bern 42, Havelock 47, just shy of 50. So be mindful of power outages, trees down, hazardous road conditions, all those good things. So again, just want to put this on your radar as you're around this afternoon and tonight. Just be mindful of the changing weather conditions. Thank you, Robbie. So with that said, it was a busy couple weeks since we last met. Again, I mentioned Friday we attended the NCACC regional meeting in Duplin County. Great presentation there. Lots of issues that are consistent across all the counties in Eastern North Carolina. First, I've already talked about the property tax issue. There's nothing really else to say other than we're going to keep watching that and be mindful of sharing the county story every chance you get. So I'm glad Chairman Bucher was able to relay that to our legislator, but they need to hear from all of you. It's really important. It is almost impossible to replace 46% of our revenue each year, which comes through property taxes, with some other form. So we heard stories about what's going on in Florida, what's going on in Ohio, Texas, all these other states that are looking at it. So I would ask you to make this number 1 on your priority list as you talk to our folks who represent Craven County. Also, big themes, agriculture, Commissioner Jones, lots of talk about preserving agriculture in Eastern North Carolina. There was some really interesting data, I believe, that came out of Duplin County, which showed the cost of the county for agricultural land versus the cost of residential land. And it's pretty astronomical, right? It was a eye-opening thing. So I'm going to ask our ag folks to take a look at that to get you some data on what that cost is here in Craven County. Economic development's big. Of course, regulation, infrastructure, all the things we talk about all the time are big priorities for Eastern North Carolina. We also recognize that we're disadvantaged, and someone made a great statement that if you add all the legislators in Eastern North Carolina, it's still not as many as Wake County has, right? All the legislators east of 95 versus Wake County. So always something we keep in mind. I wanted to, Mr. Chairman, if you'll indulge me, to read the resolution on county government into the record. I think this is really important as we talk about taxation and what counties do. So this is a proclamation declaring April National County Government Month. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 300 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties in North Carolina were established to serve state purposes and evolved to provide a range of both mandated and optional services to residents. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas counties as intergovernmental partners enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents. And whereas counties serve as society's safety net. And county employees are at the forefront in delivering essential services to residents every day. And whereas Craven County and all counties take great pride in the responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas the nation is celebrating 250 years of independence this year, and counties have a long and rich history of serving residents, including Craven County, created in the year 1712. And now therefore be it resolved that the Craven County Board of Commissioners proclaims April 2026 as National County Government Month and encourages all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to learn more about county government. Adopted this day, 16th day of March 2026. So thank you for doing that earlier. We want to share this with all the county employees and really kind of get them excited as we get into the new budget year. Budget process, I've alluded to it a couple times over the last few months. Today is the day. We'll start in this room as soon as you guys leave with the team. We'll start pulling everything out, taking a look at it, mixing it up, and then putting it back together to get you something by May. So we're excited about that. It's one of our favorite times. I can't say anybody's more excited than Gene. Generally, this is his time to shine. I'm surprised he's even able to sit down over there this morning. But no, we all take a lot of interest in looking at how the county functions and what we got going on. To get you prepared for your next meeting, there will be a resolution related to the Metropolitan Planning Organization, our MPO. As we've talked, all the municipalities we've met with are interested in joining as one Craven County group versus being split into two, an RPO and an MPO. Each municipality over the next month will begin to look at these resolutions. We have every thought that they will approve them. So with that said, when you get here on April 6th, there'll be a resolution in front of you to leave the RPO and join the MPO. And it will be under Craven County government. Commissioner Mitchell has worked with the MPO as it exists now. We have a new name proposed, which would be the Craven County MPO, which was very important to all the stakeholders that day. They were all supportive of that. And we will have county staff that will manage this and have a Craven County first agenda, right? We will look at Craven County and our needs first versus looking at it with other partners who sometimes needs get prioritized above ours. So this will be a look deeply into what we need in not only rural Craven County, but in our urban growing areas. So very excited about this. We do have a 60-day, is that right, James? It's 60 or 90 day? It's a 90-day notice to the RPO if you plan on leaving. So April 6th will be a little short of that by about 6 days as we get into July, but we think it'll still be a seamless transition there. With that said, I do want to reference some meetings that I've had related to the Council of Government, who owns the RPO as it's present. As you remember, the Council of Government has had challenges over the last 20 years, but more in depth over the last year or two as they've really struggled with some staffing issues, some financial issues. There was a meeting last Friday amongst county managers prior to the regional meeting you guys attended that were really contemplating what happens if the COG's not there, right? If it doesn't exist. And there is a real detriment that may come to this board in that for them to survive, they may need more money, okay? So my answer to them on Craven County's behalf was, well, the board will consider anything, but based on the track record over the last few years, I can't imagine this is going to be a favorable response for more money, right? So without more money, and it's not just Craven County that has to make this decision, it's every county that's in our COG, which are 9 counties. So there was mixed opinion there. Obviously, the smaller the county, the greater the need for the COG, the larger the county, the more duplication of services, which is what really happens here in Craven County. So if the COG doesn't exist because people don't want to fund more money, we will need to look at options for our aging money. It is required to go through a council of government from the feds to the state to a council of government, and then they have oversight over all the aging programs to make sure the monies are spent in the correct manner. So we'll have to work with the state to reposition that money to the closest COG that can provide that service. But just wanted to be on the record on this one because I think this decision will come fast. I believe over the next month they're going to talk to every county and municipality. If they reach critical mass of folks that say no more money, then there may be a decision that comes quite quickly. So I just want to prepare you for that.
Just for the benefit of our citizens, I'm going to ask you to repeat that about the aging programs so that people do not become concerned that we are going to lose access to the aging funds because of the issues with our COG. So would you repeat that the aging monies have to go through a COG, but it does not have to be this COG?
That is correct. So aging funds, again, start at the federal level, pass down through the state through a block grant. end up in a cog because we can't self-govern ourselves, right? So they have to go to an independent third party because there's testing and measures that these folks do through the Ombudsman program. So it's simple. If this cog can't accept federal funding, or if you choose to go to another one, it just goes to another cog, right? And there are other options out there. I think the East Carolina Council's touched by 3 different cogs. So there's 3 options there. Obviously, there's one that's much closer in Washington, North Carolina. So that seems to be the logical fit, again, if this all falls apart.
Okay. Any other questions, comments for the county manager? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda would be the comments from commissioners. Let's start on my left with Mrs. Smith. Would you like to start, please?
I don't have anything today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are reports out now that 61% of veteran suicide occurs in veterans that are not enrolled in VA healthcare. So well over half of the veteran suicide don't have access to the needed healthcare that they need. So I would ask everyone that hears about this to ask the veteran that you know, are they enrolled in VA healthcare? And if they're not enrolled in VA healthcare, I would ask you to encourage them to become enrolled in VA healthcare. If everyone that hears this message does that and has an impact on a veteran, we could all together have an impact on the veteran suicide rate in Craven County in a tremendous way. So I want to express that. It's something that each one of us can do. That costs nothing but a few minutes of time. Reach out to the veterans, please. On a more positive note, if you will, veteran suicide rate has decreased from 22 veterans a day to 17.5 veterans a day. Still far too many veterans are taking their own lives, but we're at least moving in the right direction. And I believe that here in Craven County, with the addition of VA mental health care located in Havelock next to our health center there, we can continue to have an impact on that number in Craven County and the country. And please, everyone, just reach out to the veteran you know. And then I have 2 other upcoming events I'd like to remind everyone about. On March 24th, it's the Salute to Vietnam Veterans Ceremony. It's going to be at Union Park at 9 a.m. And so that's next week. I think it's next Tuesday on the 24th at 9 a.m., the Salute to Vietnam Veterans. And then next Thursday, March 26th, I'm doing a small town hall at Havelock City Hall. NCDOT will be present to give an update and answer questions. I'm hoping that the mayor will be able to attend it as well. While county government touches everything from birth to grave, the one thing that we don't have responsibility for is the roads. So there's a lot of confusion about who roads belong to. But I will tell you, out of the top 5 things I get calls about is roads. I know more about roads than I ever wanted to know in my life. And so this will be a good town hall for people to come out and get a better understanding on whether the roads belong to NCDOT, a municipality, and get a lot of questions answered. I hope that's going to be at Havelock City Hall at 6 p.m. next Thursday. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
No, I don't have anything.
For Howard.
I have several things, but I'll skip in just a loop of time. So
We have time.
well, I was going to make a comment on the property tax situation. We do have a few counties thinking about what they call rate neutral situations, which if you're having a 30 or 40% increase in property values, a rate neutral is really a huge tax increase. And that's why our legislators are somewhat concerned. Now, I've talked to our legislators and others about we need our property taxes. We have many required services from our sheriff's department to Health and Human Services, schools, etc. So, but we do need to be aware that, in my opinion, some people are, and as Jason and I have talked many times, there are folks in our own county that, have difficulty paying their property taxes. And in some of these places where it's kind of went out of hand, it's become more and more of an issue. On our county employees, I do want to say that I appreciate our county employees. We have some of the best. Many of my constituent issues are solved by, even if it's not an issue that is a county issue, we figure it out. Like Ms. Commissioner Hunt was saying, one of the biggest issues we do have is DOT issues. I've had about 16 or 17 town halls with DOT present, where my constituents have got to engage with our project A, B, and C, get updates on those projects, and talk about some of the issues that they have. My precinct, my district are heavy with folks that are very informed with these issues that come with tough questions, and DOT, Chad Strong, others who have attended my meetings have been there and answered those questions with a lot of precision. It's been helpful to me to have our county kind of team up with DOT to solve some of those issues. Private roads being one of the concerns that have popped up recently and that's an issue that's been going on since 2011, 2012 in my district. So thank you guys. You asked for it.
Just a clarification. For all the transplants like me who moved down here, we all think that counties own roads because in the other 49 states, counties do own roads. So it's a different system here in North Carolina that we all have to learn to adapt to and work with DOT. Unfortunately, we have had very good representation with DOT and they work well with us, but that's where the confusion comes from for local citizens. But that's all, sir.
Mr. Chairman, just one item. I think Jack touched on it a little bit at our last meeting, but Crosama this past week did approve a $19.6 million contract with a company that will come in and build a new cell for the landfill. They're going to move in the next 2 weeks, and they have to have it completed in the next 10 months. The great thing about this is your landfill board over the years have put the money up, so we're not borrowing a dime. It's going to come out of fund balance that they have appropriated for it. What I would say for the residents that live in the western part of the county is there's going to be a lot of traffic with trucks in the next 10 months. They've got to haul gravel from Fountain. They've also going to be hauling a lot of sand from Jones County. And so there's going to be even more traffic than normal going into that landfill. Last thing, I also just continue on the subject of trash. I don't know what's happened, but we've always got a problem with illegal dumping and folks throwing out trash. But it is getting worse and worse and worse. I was riding to Vanceburg the other day, and there's a place where folks have just dumped out everything that you can imagine. Around Western Craven County, mattresses, it just goes on and on. The sheriff is trying to, with the funds that we have appropriated for the folks to go out, inmates, and try to pick up, they are trying to tackle that, I think, across the county. But folks, it is getting worse and worse and worse, and what do you do about it? You could figure that out, and
the only way they can punish them is to catch them in the act.
That's right.
And that's very, very hard to do.
But anyway, that's all I got.
Okay.
Sometimes they look in the trash and get the names of the person, people from their mailings.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, Ms. B. I've heard that we've identified trash bags thrown in the woods, and I think they've opened the trash bag and people literally leave their mail in the trash. And
yeah, that's real smart.
Yeah, but you can't prosecute.
That goes with the smartness of dumping. So, I got just a couple things. Number one, to add to what Commissioner Mitchell said, I was at a meeting recently on the subject of what the county does and what we don't do. And one lady said to me, well, where I moved from, we get our recycling picked up every week. And I said, well, what are your taxes like where you come from? They're a lot higher than they are here. Oh, well, that might be why, because we don't necessarily provide everything that some of your cities up north or counties do, but you also pay a lot less. So I guess you might have to make a trip to the convenience center, and she acknowledged that. The other thing that happened was, another lady said, well, where I moved from, there aren't any counties. And I said, really? And I said,
Connecticut.
where was that? She said, Connecticut. And I said, that is true. I used to live in Connecticut, and everybody in the state of Connecticut lives in a city. No matter how rural, everybody lives in a city. There's city and state, there's no counties. So I thought that was interesting. I had forgotten that. Some sad news I got this morning. Some of you might know the name Amanda Banks. Amanda Banks is a lady who gives a lot to our city. She gets involved in the Christmas event. Amanda has a daughter by the name of Auburn. And when she was 13 years old, Auburn Banks was diagnosed with a brain tumor. She passed away last night at age 18. She was in hospice in Newport for the last few days. They must have made 100 trips, maybe 1,000, I don't know, between here and Chapel Hill and Duke in the last 5 or 6 years with treating this young lady who just went through a terrible time. So if you would you please pray for the Banks family as they, Auburn doesn't have to fight any more battles, but she's going to be missed by her sisters, her mom, and her dad. So keep that family in your prayers. And also, if you believe in prayer, pray for our president, pray for every man and woman that's in the Gulf. We had a tragedy last week with a plane that went down, lost 6 airmen. I think they were National Guard is what I was told. At any rate, we need to keep that situation in prayer that it ends soon and that we don't lose any more of our soldiers, sailors, or airmen. So that's all I have. If there's anything else, no? We're being asked to go into closed session, and that closed session would...
Possible.
I'm sorry?
Break between the sessions, please.
I'm going to read what it is, and then we'll take a motion. NCGS 143318-11A4 to discuss the location and/or expansion of industries. So, do I have a motion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if we could also add subdivision A3, the attorney-client privilege, we need to briefly discuss the opioid litigation in closed session.
Okay, thank you for adding that.
So moved as amended.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second to go in closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will go into closed session and just as soon as we can.